And just like that, with the Chargers resting on their laurels early in the second half, the Redskins' admittedly slim postseason chances disappeared completely. It's 2017 in memoriam right here on the Hogsty.
By fans, for fans, the Hog Style. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
Okay, folks, we're here to do our jobs. We're not necessarily excited about it. This is one of those weeks that you can obviously pinpoint as the week that it all ended. So we'll try to be as upbeat as possible. We talk about the Chargers game. I'm here with Alex and Steve. How the heck are you guys holding up?
Well, you know, we were talking about, before we came on the air here, about whether we're getting desynthesized to games like this. You know, because we've covered this team for a long time, and, you know, fans get really upset, but weirdly enough, I'm not too irritated by it, but I think it's because we've done way too many of these shows where that happen with games like this, and we have to talk about it anyway.
Yeah, folks, Jamal has a life, so he couldn't be here tonight. But I know that if he was here, he would say that he's just numb. He said that last week, and I know that he would feel the same way. He's numb to this.
Yeah, and I think we're all the same way. We're all numb. I mean, Sean and you and I both predicted losses, I think, in this game.
I was trying to be positive, and obviously that was stupid.
So
forgive me.
You big dummy.
Before this season, I made a little stupid graphic. You know, I like to make my little graphics and post them on Twitter every once in a while, and sometimes people like them, sometimes they don't. The most popular one I ever made was the Redskins Park, and when they put up the Innova sign at the beginning of the offseason, I wrote, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here," underneath it. It's still my most popular thing I've ever tweeted. So I really feel like maybe I was foreshadowing the whole season when I did that.
Kind of so.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I think I think Brian Mitchell summed it up best, and he sent this out an hour ago on
Brian
Twitter.
Mitchell always sums things up very well.
The second half will tell me if the players have any pride and whether the coaches have their ears and attention.
Okay,
and no.
Survey says big no.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah. I mean, I think I kind of said something similar in my preview for this week. You know, I said even if it was going to be a loss and an obvious one, how they play and how sloppy they are is going to tell me a lot. So I'm kind of on the same page with that. Before we talk more specifically, Steve, you want to slap us in the face with the statistics?
Sure, as always.
Want being a very loose term right now.
Yeah. All right, we'll go with this. I have to do it. It's our job. Kirk Cousins was 15 of 27 for 151 yards, 5.6 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and one more that definitely should have been an interception. 2 sacks, quarterback rating of 68.6. Running-wise, as a team, there were 21 carries, so 65 yards, which is just pathetic. Samaje Perine
that's the norm.
Samaje Perine was pathetic, too. 17 carries,
Indeed.
45 yards. LaShawn Daniels had a carry. There's a positive, 1 carry for 4 yards, so he's got the leading.
That closed out
his
the
average
game there.
Yeah, it did, but see, he is leading the Redskins in yards per attempt right now for running backs.
That will be on the Redskins statistics thing they send out this week.
He probably will. LaShawn Daniels looks to continue his streak of games in which he's rushed over 4 yards a carry.
Right.
You know, I'm waiting for that one. Okay. Anyway, receiving, Josh Jackson led the way unbelievably with 3 receptions for 34 yards. Jameson Crowder had the same, 3 receptions, 34 yards. Ryan Grant 1 for 28. Vernon Davis had a whole bunch of targets and a lot fewer receptions, 2 for 26. Niles Paul had 1 good catch, 1 for 15.
He did.
And
he had 1 good catch.
Yeah, and 1 target and 1 catch. Now, the Chargers are a whole different story. Phillip Rivers, in about 3 quarters of play, was 18 for 31 for 319 yards. Averaged 10.3 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Quarterback rating of 114.9. That's largely due to because they had a bunch of drops. That's why his quarterback rating. Kellen Clemens cleaned up the game, was the relief pitcher here. He was 1 for 3 for 3 yards, and of course a pick 6, which we'll get to. Rushing wise, Melvin Gordon was 22 for 78, which is about on his season par. Austin Eckler 4 for 49. Of course, he cost his team points. We'll get to that. Andre Williams on a reverse, not a reverse,
End around.
Yeah, well, it was a reverse. Sorry, it was a reverse. 7 for 23. No, I'm sorry. Benjamin ran the in around. Was 1 for 22. Andre Williams 7 for 23. Sorry, I screwed that up. Tyrell Williams 4 receptions, 132 yards. Keenan Allen 6 for 111. Hunter Henry.
Holy moly!
Yeah, so we allowed 2 of them today.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry was 4 for 50. Travis Benjamin 2 for 21. And it just keeps going. So that is offensive stats.
Yikes, guys.
Yep.
So if we said going into this game that Phillip Rivers and Kirk Cousins had almost the exact same statistics going into this
Not
game.
coming out.
All it took was them going against each other for that to wildly change. Not a good look from the offense and defense. How do you guys want to take this one?
We gotta
talk about Redskins offense
no,
first.
let's get the
Chargers.
Yeah, that's right. Our defense was pathetic. It was awful. It was terrible. It was inexcusably bad. There were no redeeming qualities whatsoever, save Bashad Breeland's 100-yard pick 6. They did absolutely nothing good, nothing right, nothing that anybody
Norman
would ever
looked
want
like
to see.
Hot garbage all day. I think he had one
he's been
decent
off.
play, and he got torched 2 or 3 times.
Well, yeah,
So-
the 75-yard pattern was a post pattern, and the receiver basically ran right past him.
Right.
I mean, there's no other to it.
Yeah.
Just say it looked really bad.
There was one later where he got beat, and Swearinger was supposed to be helping over top, and neither of them covered the guy.
Okay, well, wait
That's
a minute.
what I was
Okay,
gonna
you're talking about
say,
the flea flicker. Okay, let's talk about the flea
okay.
flicker. Okay, the purpose of a first of all, the flea flicker play is when the running back takes a handoff and then tosses it back to the quarterback. The purpose of a play like this is to have the secondary bite in thinking it's a run play, which will create space with the wide receivers, and that's exactly what happened. DJ Swearinger bit on the fake, and then that was all it took. Receiver ran past him and it was over. So I'd blame Swearinger more than anything for that play rather than
But neither of them kept up with
Norman
him.
did let him. Norman did let him run right by. That was kind of a head scratcher.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying
Sigh.
not saying Norman's blameless. It stuck out to me on the replay that maybe it was swearing on Swearinger than anything.
Can I also say I'm
either way.
amazed that the flea flicker, which I think was created in 1930, is still an effective play.
It's an effective play because it's one of those gadget plays you see once or twice a year at most.
Right.
And you're just not looking for it. You know?
But I mean, it is ancient. It's like the Statue of Liberty play, which I think stems back to the 1800s. But there's a few plays that they still run that every once in a while it just goes for a big gain, and we got torched today by it.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen the Statue of Liberty in the NFL in forever. but anyway, back to defense. Let's start with the front seven. Look, they did sack Phillip Rivers twice.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, they didn't get really any pressure on him all day. They got no push.
And that's with that patchwork offensive line that they too were dealing with.
Yeah, exactly.
In
They
LA.
got no push whatsoever. It could have been a lot worse of a running day than it was. Just terrible. I mean, am I wrong? I mean,
No,
am I saying something wrong?
No, you're.
It's clear to me that this entire offense and defense have nothing left in the tank. What they're going to give you in the first quarter is probably their best, and they're just going to go downhill. There's no second effort left in this team.
Honestly, this is the first week I can legitimately say that I thought I saw the defense quit.
Mm-hmm.
Hate to say it, it looked like they quit.
Yeah.
Well, this is something we talked about a little bit last week, but in terms of getting pressure, can we diagnose that a little bit more? Is it just a function of not having someone opposite Kerrigan that can also, is that the big issue plaguing the guys up front in terms of sacking the quarterback?
The depleted interior line. I think defense is so much a game of, one piece makes another piece
Everybody.
better. Everything's got to interconnect,
Sure.
And we're down to our fourth backup linebacker, on the inside.
Oh, I mean, and that's what's so frustrating about this is because I would love to, if we can, separate the injuries somehow from the game, but you really can't because I think they were saying something like 11 or 12 people that were projected as starters were still off the field.
Look, I mean, there's
you can't. I know it's impossible to do, but
there are 2 starters in the front 7 who were not on the team in Week 8.
Right.
You know?
Like, that's a good way to put it. That's fair.
You know, and I'm talking about Zach Vigil for one, and maybe one. Is he the only one? Yeah, I was thinking of Bergstrom on offense.
Defense?
I was screwed. Zach Vigil wasn't. Lanier was on the team. Lanier was barely playing. I was thinking about Tony Bergstrom. On offense. Yeah. But point is, the middle linebacker
now maybe
was
LaShawn Daniels will be a starter.
Well, that's all. We'll get to offense. But point is, on defense, the starting middle linebacker wasn't on the team a month ago.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
The star first round rookie hasn't played since week 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah,
Feels
I
like
think
he's
week
gone
5
for a
when he went
lifetime. Yeah. The other linebacker was a backup in Spate, the other middle linebacker.
Right.
It's a team of backups. Ioannidis has a cast on his hand, for God's sakes.
Right.
I get it about the injuries. I don't get it about the quit. That's the thing that bothered me today. The team looked like they quit. It looked like they gave up, and that part is inexcusable. And it looked like they gave up in the first half, quite honestly.
Yeah, frankly, I mean, I feel like after the second touchdown is when I saw it switch over. When they were up by, I guess it would have been 17. That's when I kind of felt that vibe that they're not going to come at them with another punch. You hate to make a boxing metaphor, but it's kind of like you got knocked down to the floor and you just didn't want to get back up.
Yeah, or you start flinching, anticipating the punches almost. This was something else that I kind of alluded to in the preview, as I was saying, because I predicted a loss, and I even predicted, I think, 30 Chargers points. So I was right there on the money.
Congratulations.
So this wasn't exactly a surprise, but I also got the same impression, just that, I mean, the team had no heart. Contrast that with, we faced the Giants in years past where their season has been eliminated. They've played spoiler with us. They've played really fiercely. How much stock do you guys put in this? And, is that an indictment on Gruden?
Yes, it's an indictment
in terms of the way they played today.
Yeah, I have to blame Jay Gruden. I've defended him this year, and the injuries are a factor, but when your team quits, you have to put some of the blame on the coach. I'm sorry. And people are going to call for his head, and we're going to hear this for a month. I think for everybody's sanity, it would be really awesome if this team actually showed up for these last 3 games and we don't go out with just 5 awful games in a row like this.
Yeah. Although it's almost like playing in a situation like this when you come out so lazy. This was really, this was it. This was the time not to play lazy and to play really fiercely, and they didn't do it. So even if they play a little harder these next few weeks, wow, that just seems so hollow.
And I get it. They traveled. It was a long flight to L.A., but that's no excuse. And they were playing in front of maybe 15,000, Charger fans at most.
Yeah.
There was a significant number of Redskin fans in that stadium.
What is wrong with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
What is with that?
What is with what?
That's surprising. Just the Redskins' presence at this point. I'm kind of feeling like the fan base was down on the team these last
I'll tell you what it is.
2 years.
It's Los Angeles, and a lot of people from the D.C. area move out there. They graduated they graduate from high school, they get out of here, and that's, a lot of people leave. That's just the fact of Washington, D.C.
Yeah, but you got to remember something. You guys are overthinking this. The entire stadium seats 27,000. Okay,
right.
There were maybe 20,000 people there, and so you got to figure there were maybe between 5,000 and 10,000 Redskin fans. If it was a real stadium in front of a real crowd, it would have been about the average.
Would have looked.
Yeah, it would have been about average.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
The Redskins traveled like they usually travel. Just so happens they were playing in.
Well,
horrible.
But they had a good turnout at the Coliseum too. It was probably
I'm not
in
saying
that
it was
10
a
to
bad turnout
15,000 range, but
I'm just saying this started with me saying, yeah, they traveled, but it's not like this is a tremendous home field advantage for the Chargers.
No.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's fair. What else do we want to call out here?
Well,
do we want to talk a little bit more?
The secondary,
on defense.
At the one point, Bashad Breeland was on the bench.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know what
Quentin
that was.
Dunbar
No, he didn't
was
have a good
playing
game.
in his play. Yeah, I think we'll have to. Somebody's one of the beat writers, you know, Rich Tandler or Rick Snyder. If you're listening to this, ask Jay Gruden about that. You know, was it performance? Was it something else? I'd like to know because Dunbar was playing in his place for a significant chunk of the game.
And can we also talk about the fact that why didn't we have? I mean, if you think Breland's the number one corner, and I kind of question that now, but if that's his role he's casting, why wasn't he tracking with Allen the whole time? Because Dunbar on Allen, let's be honest, I like Dunbar. That's a mismatch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the Redskins.
No one was able to cover him today, though.
Yeah, I mean, and the Redskins haven't done a lot of that this year.
Yeah.
They haven't had a lot of, you know, had Josh Norman travel, you know, to face up against a lot of these receivers. And also, frankly, they haven't faced the murderer's row of receivers that they did last year either. I mean, they haven't seen Odell Beckham at all.
Right.
They didn't have to face Antonio Brown like we did last year. So it has Keenan Allen's probably the best receiver they faced all year, I would say, off the top of my head at least. If you guys can think of somebody better, speak up.
I think he's definitely up there. He's one of the best receivers in the league,
I mean,
so
the
there you
Eagles
go.
just have 3 really good receivers. They don't have an elite one.
They don't. Right, exactly. So this, we'll have to think about it more. But off the top of my head, this might have been the toughest matchup. Now, of course, I said in the preview that Allen was going to get his touches and everything, but the key was to keep him from going crazy, and of course they failed to do that.
Right. Well, I mean, they failed not just with Allen, but just with about every receiver that is on the Chargers roster. It's not like they, held anybody in check. So
Yeah, that 75-yard touchdown by Williams.
That was a backbreaker.
So many
Such a
backbreaking
backbreaker.
moments. Yeah. They just could not get it done at all. I mean, this just seems like it's indicative of severe problems with the defense as a whole.
And since we're talking about, let me run through a few of these tackles totals here real fast.
Sure.
And the reason I want to bring it up is this is the first game that Zach Brown wasn't the leading tackler. DeShazier Everett was the leading tackler with 11.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Brown got carted off the field.
Yeah.
So but he had 10. Zach Vigil.
It's the only way you're going to catch up with him, right? there.
Zach Vigil had 9. Bashad Breeland 6. Total tackles with the pick 6, of course. Ryan Anderson 5. Ziggy Hood 5. Quentin Dunbar 5, and it goes down from there. So that's tackles. Oh, and sacks. I'm sorry. The 2 sacks were credited to Lanier and Ioannidis. So there you go.
So the interior guys.
Right.
I mean, look, and I try to keep a big picture mind about this thing. I still like what we're seeing out of Anthony Lanier. I don't know. I don't think he'll be a starter, but if he's your number 3, number 4 guy going forward next year, I'm pretty happy with where he is.
Yeah, and I'd like to call out Junior Gillette. He showed some speed today. I don't know if you guys caught it, but he ran a stunt and almost got to a stunt around the left side and almost got to Rivers there at one point.
Yeah, I saw that.
And had another good pressure. So he's starting to show some of his burst again. The numbers haven't been there for him, but considering how much he's played, that's not surprising. But so
again, not bad
if that's
depth plan. If that's where he is going forward.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think it was him and Rivers that almost got into it there at one point, right?
No.
Rivers kinda pushed him.
That was I think that was Lanier.
Yeah, I think that was Lanier.
Oh, it was Lanier?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's kind of funny. Rivers went to push him, but it ended up just pushing himself backward.
And then they had a mutual butt grab to
Yeah. It's always
There you
weird
go.
when you
Smooth
see
things
2
over.
opposing teammates do that. I don't know.
I think it's weird when athletes pat butts, period,
Well,
personally. I mean, please don't do that,
Key and Peele has a great sketch about that, by the way. I'll send you the link later, Steve.
Yeah, please do, because, it's a little weird. I'm just saying.
It's a little weird, I agree. Okay, well, should we switch over to the other side of the ball?
I guess we have to.
Let's do it. What do you guys want to talk about? The lack of a passing game, the lack of a running game, the lack of any heart at all?
Well, let's start
the
with
lack of
Kirk
any
Cousins.
Okay, lack of a quarterback.
I haven't looked up the stats here. I will before the end of the show, but I'm thinking this might have been his worst game of the season, but for maybe that first game where he was so terrible.
Yeah.
I'll go check that real fast.
No. I think statistically, at least versus the Eagles, which is what you're talking about, he moved the ball in that game. Here we didn't even get the ball down.
We didn't move the ball.
Yeah, and I really wasn't talking about statistics, truthfully. Just the way he looked, the way he played.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's terrible. I thought the interception, that might have been the worst pass he's made the
Yeah.
entire season. Maybe the worst pass of his career.
Well, I mean,
That was boneheaded.
Yeah.
all game long, anytime he went downfield, it was either short or high. Like, he never hit a guy downfield in stride,
Right.
it felt
He
like.
looked terrible. I stopped counting at 6 bad passes. And I
Right.
quit counting.
Did you
'cause it got
count?
too depressing.
Let me ask you about one pass in particular. When he scrambled out to his right to throw it to Doxson, who got one hand on it, like outstretched, jumping up.
I didn't count that as a bad pass.
I would say that's a bad
I
pass.
blame
Wouldn't
on
that be a
Dox.
bad pass?
Yeah, but my bad passes, my stat for that has always been like the open and obvious ones. They're really awful.
Okay.
The ones that just miss a little bit. Okay. But we
Trying
got
to throw a guy open.
Yeah,
is a little different.
yeah. I mean, these are like the really obvious ones. And let's talk about that play for a minute. Why did they brought it up on the TV broadcast? Why on earth did Josh Doxson try to one-hand that ball?
Because it was out of his reach to begin with.
I guess, but
He was in the air, and he was outstretched, and you guys can't see on the, people listening can't see, but it was beyond where he could realistically reach one arm. How's he going to get the other arm across his chest?
And maybe that should have been on my list. I'm just telling you, I didn't count it.
But that's the kind of thing, like, is that on Kirk? Is that on Doxson? I don't know. I mean, they're not on the same page, obviously.
I blame that on Doxson, but this is the problem. See, this is what PFF does.
Mm-hmm.
They'll make a call on that, and they'll quantify that. And, instead, the truth of the matter is they both probably were at fault.
Yeah,
I thought.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway, point is, this was a terrible performance by Kirk, in my opinion. He didn't do much. He didn't have much redeeming value today.
As far as that interception, can you guys really think of a single game this year where he hasn't thrown a ball or two like that? Just obvious, into triple coverage. Sometimes he puts them right on the defender's numbers. I mean, this is a characteristic of Kirk Cousins, guys. It is. At this point, it is.
It is.
Every single game, I think, this year. He's good for at least one or two of those games.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I think
And
so.
I'm fully realizing all the incredible things he does.
I think,
but we've got to accept.
I don't think you're wrong. I think a lot of quarterbacks have that issue. He's just...
You think so, though?
I do. I mean, I think if you go and look at Matt Stafford, if you look at... Okay, maybe not Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. Everyone below that...
Even
list,
guys like Phillip Rivers, though. Even guys like Phillip Rivers,
Well,
they are
look,
pretty similar quarterbacks. They are in terms...
It's funny you say that, Sean, because I thought in the very first drive of the game, I thought, my gosh, this San Diego. I keep saying San Diego. My gosh, this Charger offense
San Angeles.
looks a lot like the Redskins passing game. In the very first drive, because he was going short, he was mixing it up, he was trying to get the run game going, and then of course he started airing it out, and it completely changed. But for a brief moment there, I thought these Chargers look like the 2016 Redskins, briefly.
Yeah. And are you're saying that specifically in terms of the play of their quarterbacks?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And the way their passing game was structured, but again, it completely changed.
It did.
When and Phillip Rivers started going deep. Deep a lot.
Once there was blood in the water,
Yeah.
you can't take the blood out of the water once it's in there.
So, I think people out there don't say I don't mean it for the entire game. That was my thought initially. That was it. But sorry, Sean. Go ahead.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. I just feel like even Phillip Rivers is a good example of a guy. Probably no one's going to call him necessarily elite status as a quarterback.
No.
But he also isn't going to, I think he's a little bit smarter with the ball. I think Kirk is not necessarily as protective of the ball as he needs to be, and it results in a lot of interceptions. And frankly, he got gifted so many times this season with some that should have been an interception. Steve, you alluded to at least once today.
Yeah.
That should have been another interception. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he has gotten so lucky on that.
I see what you guys are
in
talking
that
about.
regard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we just need to appreciate that. And I'm for keeping Kirk Cousins, but we need to appreciate
I mean,
what
this
it means.
game is going to do much to quell the noise. That's for sure.
No.
I mean, it's only going to get louder.
Yeah.
No, and between this and all the stuff we're starting to hear about this whole Scott McLuhan legal case that people are starting to freak out about.
Okay, let me tell you something about this.
I know people are making
It's an It's Just Business
Yeah.
topic. It's not really a hog side topic, but
Ooh, Steve's getting legal. I'm gonna get my popcorn.
it does.
There we go.
The case utterly does not matter in terms of Redskins fandom. Okay,
Right. Yeah, I
it is
know.
a contract dispute, and they're arguing about a default clause. That's what it's about. It's did Scott McLuhan default in his contract, which would enable the Redskins to terminate him, or did he not?
Right.
That's no doubt probably what the case is about. And
Riveting criminal case.
it's not a criminal case.
No.
It's a civil case.
I know. I'm kidding.
But my point is, it's totally irrelevant to anything. You know,
But-
people need to not get all hung up over this because
But
it's not going to matter.
Littles in our
a bit.
fan base see everything that comes out and freak out about it. Like, I saw the thing that came out this week was, oh, people who are in the front office are going to be asked to testify. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happens in almost every kind of lawsuit like this, is they find people who work there and they ask them to testify. Why are we going to panic about that?
Well, we're not.
No, we're not. But, PFF or PFT, not PFF, PFT and all those sites, they act like it's, a big deal. That
I'm convinced, honestly, and we know enough reporters, I think now, to know that most of these reporters are pretty down the middle.
Yeah.
I think Mike Florio is not one of those guys. I'm convinced he has it out for the Redskins.
Oh yeah.
Because of the name, in no small part, and so I tend to discount anything Mike Florio says about the Redskins because I just think it's biased.
I agree, and even though I like Jason LaCanfora a lot, he hates the team because of his time working here, and I understand.
And of course, a lot of the stuff he said, he was right about.
Well, he was
back in the day.
no, he hates them because his time working here was awful, and he has a reason to be.
Anyway, but we're getting...
I think by the sorry, I just was going to say the reason people are so concerned about this is because the Redskins are really only competitive in court. If you think about it, that's where they do their best fighting and their best work.
winning off the field.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Like
they
a
win in the
450
courts,
winning
man.
percentage in court versus a 400 winning percentage on the field.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, we're going to report it, and whatever happens,
Yeah.
fine. If first of all, we may not know the result. Okay,
Right.
there's not going to be Is this an arbitration?
Well,
There's
Steve,
not going
you
to
and
be
I
a
both
published
know it's going to
decision.
get leaked by somebody.
Somebody.
Yeah.
It will get leaked probably, and we'll report it. But either way, it doesn't matter. And the other thing, before we get back to the game, people are at this point romanticizing Scott McLuhan's time here.
Yeah.
The dude was
Yeah.
not infallible. He made a whole lot of mistakes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. This was the genesis of my idea to do a statistical analysis of the draft picks in the Shanny era, in the Bruce Allen era, and in the Scott McLuhan era, because I really want to know, and it needs fleshing out, but I'm going to do it because I really want to know.
Shanahan's acquisitions. I gotta say, I think he's the guy. I think his acquisitions have paid off the most.
Well,
his
we're gonna
first-round
find out.
picks definitely have been the most successful.
Yeah.
Trent
I mean, there's
Williams
all
being the biggest one. Of
Well,
those.
except for one, yes.
So
Well, no. I mean, Trent Williams was his best pick. Shanny's best pick. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
yeah, he had a
lost
lot of
me.
good ones.
Yeah. You lost
I
me,
think you
Alex.
guys were.
Yeah, I think
one of you zigged and the other one
Yeah, I
zagged,
think so.
and
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, except for one pick during the Shanahan era that really did not work out in the first round.
Oh, which one?
Who would that be?
It would be a certain quarterback.
Certain quarterback? I can't imagine. Whoever it was clearly got no coverage here because I can't think of who you could possibly.
And yet we
it
have
was after
people-
We started the show. Or before
You know
we
what's
started.
amazing?
Oh yeah, okay.
It's that people want the Redskins to draft Lamar Jackson. He's a running quarterback, people. I mean, there's a guy out there who who's one of our regular Twitter guys, who swears by Lamar Jackson, swears that he's a great pocket passer,
Right.
swears that he can move around in the pocket and then reset, like Kirk Cousins doesn't do very much.
Right.
Maybe you're right, the Twitter guy out there, but I just can't believe we draft another running quarterback.
Well, and Baker Mayfield now is
Yeah.
suddenly becoming a fan favorite, I'm noticing.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he's going to be gone way before.
I mean, you can draft a quarterback with the tendency to run. Those are the ones that destroy us, which is probably why people continue to
the
get
Carson
excited at the
Wentz's of the
prospect.
world who can do it.
You know,
and
they
don't have
destroy
to.
it. There's
Lamar Jackson's run
Yeah.
for over 3,000 yards.
Yeah.
See, exactly. There's the distinction. Is like there's different kinds
He's
of
an
running
option
quarterbacks.
quarterback is what
Obviously,
he is. I mean,
yeah.
Even though, again,
no more option.
that one
quarterbacks.
Twitter guy, and his name is escaping me, I've been back and forth with him,
is it
swears
Casual
by
Hero?
him.
Because he goes
No.
at us a lot about nonsense.
No, it's not.
Okay.
And it's somebody whose opinion I
Oh,
respect.
Greg the
I-
Troll. It must be Greg
No,
the
it's
Troll.
not. It's somebody whose opinion I respect in terms of football knowledge.
Okay.
I just can't remember
Oh
his
yeah,
name.
we don't respect his opinion.
He swears by it. We're going to have to watch film on it. But anyway, back to the game.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah,
Cousins. So let's talk
let's
about the
do it.
running
Let's-
game.
Yeah, put the kibosh on Cousins and move to the disappointing running game.
Yeah.
I like it.
Um,
Cousins and move to the disappointing running game.
Yeah.
I like it.
So we
Go.
lost our backup to our backup to our backup to our backup to our backup.
Yes, indeed.
At
We
one
had
point,
LaShawn
we
Daniels running the ball.
lost, at one point, we lost Samaje P. Ryan, who was only the backup to the backup to the backup.
Right.
And we were
And
down.
we
to
lost
a guy
Byron
who-
Marshall.
I don't know if I had to double check and look. What is this guy's jersey number? Will I even know him when I see him in the, And we were down to Daniels for a little while. That's how bad we were.
Yeah, I mean, what can we say about the running game today? Is there something in the numbers that you're seeing, Steve, that's going to tell us something insightful that we haven't already seen?
No, but I think today the offensive line got beat like a drum again.
Yeah.
P. Ryan didn't run well. I mean, there's no doubt, okay? P. Ryan didn't run well. But it's not like he had a ton of room and it was missing a lot of holes. He was getting hit in the backfield a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, a
Yeah.
lot. And so the
Is that the big difference between a game like this and the 100-yard games he had?
Yeah. There
few
were
weeks?
huge rushing lanes against the Giants in particular.
Mm-hmm.
I'm massive running lanes. I could have gained some yards. In this game, there was just absolutely nothing, and he's not good enough. I know there's people out there that swear by Samaje P. Ryan, fine, have at it. But the guy's not good enough to create in a situation like this. Only elite level backs can do that, and he's not one of those.
Even
And
elite
so he
level
just got
backs
shut
are going to
down.
get gobbled up in some of those plays where you got
Yes.
guys 3-4 yards in the backfield before you even get the ball.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
there's, you could put LaDainian Tomlinson back there and he would have gotten beaten like a drum at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And you saw, like Ari Kwanjo had a rough game, both in pass pro and in run blocking. I think Kwanjo got P. Ryan hit at least once or twice. that I
Probably
can
more than
remember
that.
in particular. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kwanjo, friend of the show, we love you, but wasn't your proudest moment today?
Diagnose P. Ryan for me. What's P. Ryan's ceiling, you think, on
I
this
think
team?
he's a backup.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think he has.
Just curious what our temperature is now. He's had a few good games, obviously plenty of bad ones.
He has, obviously, he's got the strength. He's got the build. I think his vision is okay, but I don't think his athleticism is such that it's going to allow him to become a top shelf franchise level back.
No.
And I realize does Jay Gruden want or need a franchise back? That's another question, but I don't think Samaje P. Ryan is that. I think he's a capable backup on most teams.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
if you have a decent, healthy line, he'll be okay in some of these, basic short yardage run between the tackles type plays. And even today, he had plenty of carries where he was getting 6-7 yards on a, first down run up the gut. But you add into those, half his runs were probably stuffed in the backfield, and that's why his numbers end up the way they do.
Well, it also ends up the way they do. I mean, he's had every game is like this, but for the two games he had that were the 200-yard games,
Right.
And some of it is his fault.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's not
I'm
all
saying
the
he's
offensive
blameless
line.
at all. I don't think anyone would say he's not partly to blame.
Yeah.
He was also, I mean, let's be honest, he came out of the game a couple times because he got hurt.
Right.
He had, it looked like hamstring issues throughout the game. That's not going to help. He's not fast to begin with. That's only going to slow him down.
What do you guys see from him? So in the offseason, are you seeing like an open competition? I know there's so much that could potentially happen. Who knows? But are you seeing like with him vying for that spot? As the every down back.
I think they're going to draft a running back high.
Yeah.
I've had a theory.
Yeah.
I
think they should.
I'd like to get you guys' opinion on it. And this is a little bit more away from game recap, but this game sucked, so we can do this.
We're in the crazy
who
theory
cares?
part of the season now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My theory
Exactly.
here is that Jay Gruden has shown this year that he wants to run the ball more than people think, okay? He's tried to run the ball almost every game, and it just never works. He's tried to establish the run, and he gets frustrated and gives up on it. I think if we had an elite level back, Saquon Barkley, what's the other guy? It was Bryce. Help me, Alex from Stanford. Bryce. Bryce.
I don't know the Stanford running back right now.
He was in the Heisman. He was on the Heisman vote yesterday.
Okay.
Bryce Love, is that his?
Oh yeah, Bryce Love. Yes, yeah. That's
have a guy, one of those two guys, or someone else. I think Jay Gruden really would use a back like that in a way that he's supposed to be used. Am I wrong?
No, I think he.
Well, define a back like that. I'm not really familiar with this guy.
Well, okay.
Saquon Barkley is rated as possibly the next Adrian Peterson.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about a
guy like
who could
that.
easily be a 1,500 to 2,000 yard running back with also the ability to receive the ball and get another 500 yards in the air.
The Kuiper and McShays of the world rate Saquon Barkley to be the best back to come out in many, many years.
Right. Better than the guy who's suspended
Leonard
for
Fournette.
the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, Elliott.
Yeah.
I refuse to say his first name anymore. I'm sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If you think back, guys, there were times when there were better running backs on this team with Gruden, and he didn't seem to want to use them then either. So, I don't know. Who knows? I would certainly... I mean, yeah, if he has a real weapon, goddamn, I would hope he would use it, sure.
I mean, what would Jay have done with Clinton Portis, for example?
That's a good
that's
question.
the question. Yeah,
I mean, Portis would almost be the dream back for Gruden. He's a every down back who can catch the ball.
And he was a heck of a blocker,
yeah.
Which Jay wants.
Yeah, I mean, that's what...
So is that the main thing? A back with good receiving hands is probably the biggest thing for Gruden.
See, that's the thing. Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if Jay had a back like that, say Clinton Portis, or say what Saquon Barkley is supposed to be, and who's really an elite level runner, I think Jay would run him 20 times a game.
I think so.
And I think Jay would try to establish the run. And yeah, he's going to use play action to play off that later in the game. I mean, because that's what professional level coaches do. But I think if we had a running back like that, I really think Jay would use him. A lot of people out there don't agree. But I think Jay has shown that because Jay's the play caller this year, and we've shown much more of a tendency to try and establish the run this year than we have in years past under Todd McVay.
Who even picks the personnel on this team anymore, guys? Who's going to be doing that this offseason?
Well, ultimately, Bruce Allen is the final say-so. He's anointed himself that.
Except he doesn't have McLuhan's notes.
Of who actually has the final say?
Jay is the team
That's what I'm
president,
saying.
And Jay has the final say. It's a team effort, from what I understand, in which a lot of people in the room and talking. But at the end of the day, Bruce Allen's the guy with the veto.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nobody that contractually has, like a lot of these GMs, real GMs, contractually have the final say over the roster.
Right.
That's not the case here. Doug Williams definitely doesn't have that.
No, Doug is basically leading the scouting effort, is what I understand it to be.
Right. And so it's really, I consider Bruce Allen's show.
Yeah, I don't even think Gruden has say over, final say. Like, I think if Gruden said, hey, I want this running back, and Allen wanted somebody else, he would go with what Allen has on his list,
Right. I think so. Yeah.
That doesn't sound like the greatest situation to me, guys, but it will certainly be very interesting to see what they're going to pick this, who they're going to acquire.
To be a fly on the wall in the Redskins
draft
round.
Yeah.
I mean, I think...
So curious to see what they're going to do.
Unfortunately, I think this is going to be as crazy as an offseason as we had last year, which is not bode well for the team.
Because, we have this little quarterback thing that somebody needs to resolve.
Yeah. And that
alone is
I mean,
frankly,
as much as I would like to see him draft a running back early, like you were saying, Steve, I got to wait until we know who our quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and frankly, there's a whole lot of needs too.
Yeah.
I mean, left tackle is straight, but beyond that, I'm not sure any position.
I don't even know if left tackle is straight.
Upgrade.
Trent Williams' knee might not be ready next year.
He's straight for. True.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Fair enough. But, I mean, left tackle's maybe the only position on offense that I feel fairly comfortable about because Trent's a borderline potential Hall of Fame type guy.
Okay. We have two backup receivers, like decent number 2 and 3 kind of guys. Need a number 1.
Yeah, and I don't even know what to call Josh Doxson at this point.
To me, he's a red zone number 3 kind of player. That's what I would say.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think he has a huge ceiling, but he just hasn't recognized his full potential yet.
Yeah.
Should we get back to the game? Do we have anything else to say about the game? I mean, what else is there to even say?
Well, we got to go do
offense.
injuries here.
All right. Okay.
The only injuries I saw, and I was sitting here looking, trying to find updates, and I haven't found any. Byron Marshall went out with the hamstring, did not return.
Right.
Zach Brown got carted off the field
Right.
late in the game.
Super.
And we had Samaje Perine went out and came back in, but has some injury to some degree. And I believe, did Chris Carter go out?
Chris Carter did on special teams.
Okay, and so that is injuries.
Yeah.
That's all we have right now.
Like I was saying before the show, the announcer seemed really excited to say Chris Carter carted off the field in Carson. So.
Oh, and
By the way, it was one of those games.
Random but important.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Schefter tweet: Eagles are concerned quarterback Carson Wentz tore his left ACL per source.
Oh, boy.
And that's per Shefty, not Ian Rappaport, so it's probably accurate.
That changes the landscape if that happened. My
Sure
goodness.
That changes the playoffs, at least.
Ouch.
Changes a lot of things.
Ouch.
So, and he
Okay,
further
so
said...
Vikings for the NFC then.
Yeah, he further said he headed to the locker room where Eagles treated knee they fear has a torn ACL. So watch for that.
Yikes.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
If you want healthy ACL and MCLs, don't come to the NFC East. We'll break them. We will break them for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we missed when we were talking about the? I mean, there's no offense to talk
No.
about, but anything else we want to get in there?
No. Offense is horrible.
Oh.
There was
Should we
nothing
give,
redeeming about today's offense.
Well, on that note, then, Steve, why don't you give us our first offensive game ball, buddy?
Oh, God, do I have to?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I know. I was begging for that, basically, when I...
You were. You were asking
Yeah.
for it, Steve, with your words.
This is like one of these things where I have to give one.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to Niles Paul because Niles Paul made a great catch. He only had one target, but he made a great effort and a great catch in traffic. He made a much higher leap than I ever thought he could. So I've given Niles Paul the game ball. And on defense, gosh, not one person deserves a game ball on defense. Can I decline? Or do I have to give one?
But we're
Give it to the
on
one
I've
guy
listened
that got a
back.
sack.
Yeah.
I know who I'm
Okay,
giving it
fine.
to, yeah.
I'll give Anthony Lanier got a sack, so he gets a game ball out of
There you go. He's
a
gonna get
total
two
lack
today.
of someone else who deserves it.
That's how these things are picked of late.
All right, I'll go defense first. I got mine.
Do it.
And
Hell yeah.
on defense, I'm just going to say Breland because, all right, you got to pick 6. Whoop-dee-dee-whoop-ee-whoop. And I think it's his first of his career. I don't know what was going on with him sitting on the bench at one point. If anybody should be on the bench, frankly, in the corners, it's Norman. He's the one who seems still to be a mess in terms of his health or whatever's going on with him.
Yeah.
So anyway, Breland's my defensive. On offense, I'm going to actually just give it to the punter and say, Tressway, you're the only person who did your job all game and did a good job.
Nice.
So
He had a couple
He had
bad
some booming
punts, though.
kicks.
He didn't have...
No.
He didn't have any
He
bad
had some
punts.
really
They were
long
bad
ones.
returns. He didn't punt it poorly.
Yeah. He had like a couple 50-yard punts.
Yeah.
it seemed
It's your
like.
game ball,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, okay, he didn't have a
Do with it as you
65-yard
want.
punt
Oh,
like
God.
the other guy did for the
Okay,
Chargers.
trivia question.
Yeah.
Trivia question. Guess the number of yards that Trustway punted today.
Number of yards. All right, he had, I know, at least
I have
8
it.
punts.
I'll give you he
Holy
had 8
shit.
punts.
Yeah,
He
so
did have
8
8
times,
punts.
let's say 40. I'm
Okay,
going to say
don't do math on there.
270.
Oh, you're way off. You're not even close.
Wait, are we counting like we have to subtract what was returned?
This is net yards.
his
Oh,
These are
net yards.
Net
Oh,
yards.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to say it's going to be surprisingly low, and let's go with 110.
347, big guy.
What?
Yep, 347.
Am I misinterpreting the meaning of net yards?
No,
Did we
his
not
average
factor?
punt, 43.4
Times 8.
average punt times 8.
Yeah.
347.
Okay. Then I thought myself out of it because I was okay. That
Tressway
makes a little bit
passed
more
for
sense.
more yards than Phillip Rivers threw.
But punted for more yards. Yeah.
That will headline the Redskins statistics that they set.
That
out
might
this
be a
week.
good. That might be a good title for the show. Trent Williams passed for more yards, punted for more yards
a
than
little bit of a
Phillip Rivers
long
threw.
headline.
Okay, well, fair enough. You'll come up with something better.
I don't know if it'll be
but
better,
we
but
missed
it'll
an
be
injury, by the way. John Keim tweeted out Trent Williams period knee questionable period. So whatever that means.
Just
So,
put him on
I
IR.
thought
in other
about
words,
it.
just a
Can we
normal
stop
day.
playing this game with Trent Williams' career?
Well, now
I
we
agree
can,
actually
yeah.
with that.
Now, yeah.
Stash him away and give him a latte
Mm-hmm.
and chill out. I think I had to do my game balls. Nobody really cares, so I'll just shoot through them. Let's go with Vernon Davis for offensive.
He got a
to be
touchdown.
different.
Yep.
And, I mean, it is what it is. And I'm going to give it to Lanier as well for generating some pressure today, as you guys pointed out.
Okay.
And that's going to do it for my riveting game balls. Gosh, we did it, guys. That was not an easy game to give game balls out. We goddamn did it. I think we earned ourselves a
really
reward.
wanted to give it to Phillip Rivers, but, couldn't do it.
You love to
we
give
can't
it
do
to
that
the
anymore.
other team.
When they deserve it, it's like, does anybody on the Redskins really deserve a game ball today?
No.
We had to give them.
No,
but, yeah.
It's been this whole story of this whole season.
I'm going to shoot the game ball with a shotgun before I pass it out. That's what I'm going to do.
All right. Well, anything else you guys want to mention about this thoroughly disappointing game? Obviously, we're going to do a written recap, and we'll be back with you guys. Even though the season's over, in effect, we'll obviously be back each week. But what else you guys want to say?
I have another great quote. This is from
right.
Kimberly Martin, Washington Post Redskins reporter.
She's the new beat reporter, right?
Yeah, she's the new beat reporter
Nice.
with the Post. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, well, we'll have to get her on the show.
Absolutely.
Because we don't have enough women guests. We've never had a woman. No, we
we've
did.
had
We
one
had
woman.
one woman.
Yeah.
Who was the lady from the city of Richmond.
And I keep being
Anyway,
afraid to ask Cindy Bourne to come on because I can't think of why.
This is why we need Jamal. The three of us repel women.
Yeah, I know, really.
That's the problem.
Okay, but the quote she put out, DJ Swearinger repeatedly said the Redskins didn't prepare well and the outcome of the game wasn't a shock to him. And her quote was...
Wasn't a shock to me either.
Her
DJ.
quote was, "We out here practicing. It's not surprising at all to me." So, sounds like an
Ouch,
indictment
that's-
of both the coaches and the players.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too many different ways you could take that. That sounds
Nope.
like a clear shot at the administration here.
Yep.
So great. That's a great way, great morale to be going into the final few games with, / the off season.
Yep.
Can't say I'm surprised though. Okay, well on that delightful note, we'll let you guys get back to your lives. We'll be back with you. Take care. Boom.
Considering that this game was a massive dumpster fire, it wasn't too bad a show.